Hello and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host today, Ethan, joined with just Josh. Ryan has got some stuff going on tonight, but we're here to talk about dream lineups.
Yep, we are definitely here to talk dream lineups, our week 9 recap, week 10 dream lineups, and we got some interesting things to talk about from a crazy week 9, surprisingly. But
Yeah,
let's start off with our basically our recap. What is
well,
one
our
takeaway you
takeaway.
had?
Yeah. My takeaway was what is it? The litmus test means nothing
Yes, pretty much.
because you can be dumb as rocks and still throw for a rookie record and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, any S2 score, just throw it out the window. Any IQ test, throw it out the window. You can burn it. It doesn't matter. Dude, have you has there been a better rookie season than CJ Stroud for as
For
far as a rookie quarterback?
mm, no, I don't think
I don't
so.
think so because I don't even think like Andrew Luck was solid, but it wasn't like, okay, we're already talking elite status.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
he's probably
even
the only one you could talk about.
Cam in the run game, maybe potentially, but like I he's been so one thing is he's confident in his arm, which is something you love to see. And he has been super careful with the football, but still being super aggressive. It's honestly insane to watch. And he's like legit carving up all these defenses. There's like no gimmick attached to it. Like literally the quarterback you got watching Georgia Ohio State is the quarterback of the Houston Texans right now.
Yeah. The only thing that was bad is oh no, I guess they didn't count that pick
No,
on
because
the
um didn't he fumble?
was it a fumble? I don't know.
Well,
So it
no,
was
it
only
was a
against
pick that got turned into a fumble, right?
okay.
Something
Maybe
like
it's
that.
not.
Yeah, so yeah, literally. Oh, I'm gonna pull up his stats because it's who has him in our league.
Uh Alex does, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah, Alex does.
Alex has lucked out, and if he doesn't have, well, actually, he has
But
a
no, he's
good
still gonna
reason.
start Dak because that's his secret lever.
But I mean, low key, Dak has been performing the last 2 weeks. I will give him that.
In fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, yes, in fantasy, that is
All
true.
right, Cowboys fans.
We look, you and I will gladly throw salt in the wound.
Exactly. What's
But
your what's your takeaway?
my takeaway is personally, I think for me this year, I went all in on the players, and then I go through the schemes, and this is where I'm like, all right, I'm standing by this player. I feel like I broke fantasy rule number one. You bank on the good offenses.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that for the most part this year for a lot of my redraft leagues. And I
Shout
am,
out Bijan owners for not
yeah,
banking on good offenses.
yeah. But I think that's just been my reminder because it doesn't matter if you're a good player in a bad offense. Like it, I know we had this conversation couple listen 3 4 weeks ago, but I think I'm just going to stick to that. So it's like if I believe a team's going to be a good offense, I'm looking at those players on the team, and then I'll look for volume plays probably mid-season rather than trying to bank on it early in the season.
Yeah.
But literally look at CJ Stroud for like 44 points. He has only thrown, yeah, he's actually his only pick. Oh, yeah, he did have a
It was
pick in
against the Saints.
yeah, it was against the Saints. But besides that, he's had a couple fumbles here and there, but he's really only had two, so three turnovers, but 17 touchdowns on top of that. Like you can't ask for
I'll
a
take
better
I'll take
rookie
17 and
season.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take 17-3 all day, and to be honest, it's like 17-1 technically. So it's incredible to see what Stroud is doing. But yeah, so not too many. Well, I mean, we Ethan and I were already talking about, and this is a pretty big question, but I gave Ethan this question, and I want to hear his answer. We were talking off camera, and I said, would the Falcons have been better off drafting Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson than Drake London? Not saying Drake London's a bad player, but understanding that in Arthur Smith's scheme, you have to have a receiver that can attack all three levels. And unfortunately, Drake London, that's not his game. So, Ethan, what is the answer to this question?
I mean, yeah, like I do love Drake, but they need to play with tempo, and I think that's the one thing they do poorly. And it just kind of messes up the rhythm of the offense and stops dudes from scoring fantasy points. As much as Arthur Smith hates that statement, but it's true.
Honestly, he's been. I mean, I kind of actually want to go into my first big question when we talk about Arthur Smith here. And the reason why I want to do an early keeper check. So I'm going to give you a couple offenses that we could either see change coming or struggling and see is there a keeper available. So I'm going to give you a couple teams. Atlanta's the first one. Like, so let's start off with this. I think you're keeping Bijan 100%, right? Like that's pretty
Yeah,
obvious in that
yeah,
regard. What about Drake London?
yeah. I think you're still keeping Drake
Yeah, I would say still keeping Drake as well. Kyle Pitts, I think you can play with fire and leave him, not keep
because
him and try and
the
draft
thing
him
about
back.
Drake,
But
Drake is still going to get his. They just need to like, from an operations perspective, add a speed threat for their wide
yeah,
receiver.
honestly, like, I mean, I need to see the updated draft order.
Like if they can incorporate Kadro Hodge more, that
I mean,
they'd be
I
more.
would even say Kadero Hodge. I think Van Jefferson is going to have to be that guy who could attack multiple, but
Yeah, but Vance
honestly, like,
was.
I didn't say. Um, let's see. Let's see. Current draft order right now. Arizona one, Chicago has two and three. Giants, Patriots,
Yeah,
Rams,
they're
Packers,
taking they're
Bucks.
taking Marvin Harrison Jr. The Bears.
I would be shocked if they didn't, to be honest with you. Atlanta would right now have the 11th overall pick, and the only person I could think of in my mind, is the other Ohio State receiver. I think his name is Amika Ibuka. I don't quote me on that one, but he's a good vertical guy from what little I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm and if I'm wrong, someone will tell me, and I'll happy to admit that I was wrong. Um, but yeah, I definitely think. Sorry, as I get notifications galore, but as I definitely think that offense is getting. It just needs that speed threat because you can't just play in a phone booth 24/7. And funny enough, I think that's what a lot of the other run first teams have dealt with is like can't just be in a run booth every single time because eventually they're going to dare you to open things up. So that's on Atlanta. My next team is so I think this is sneaky. I know this is me projecting a bit. I would not be surprised to see the Bills undergo massive changes this year. You're
Yeah,
keeping
it seems like
Allen, yeah, you're keeping Allen, you're keeping Diggs. My keeper question is going to be James Cook and Gabe
no,
Davis.
no.
I would say no to neither as well. And I mean, unless they drastically change their offense, I think James Cook is a really good player being used horribly wrong.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
fair.
really been to me it's been really ruining Josh Allen because that offense, which ironically enough, like I've always said it that the Bills and the Ravens offense was essentially the same, as in they're too QB centric and they demand that their quarterback makes the perfect throw every single time. And I think we're finally realizing that the Bills you just can't run that offense in today's game.
Yeah.
It's just borderline impossible. And the fact that they weren't able to get another receiver just made things really difficult for them. Um, so I mean, Gabe Davis, we've run this circle quite a few times. Uh, so another offense that we expect change. Ethan, what other teams do you expect to see either a coaching change or personnel change?
Oh, that's a good question.
And
I think
again,
the
the Jets.
no, the Chiefs. I think you're going
Oh,
to see
Chiefs.
player changes.
I mean, so Chiefs, your only keepers are going to be. Would you
Mahomes.
keep? And Kelsey? Would you keep Pacheco?
I'm not keeping Kelsey.
You think this is the year?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't think you're wrong. And I actually I'll say this as a Travis Kelsey fantasy owner. Uh so let's put it this way. I think the Chiefs cannot ignore receiver for a third season. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to get someone who can amass targets, which I think moves Travis Kelsey to option number two. And if that's the case, I think he's still going to be a top five, top 10 tight end, but he just won't have the stranglehold on the number one spot anymore. Unless something drastically changes to where it's like, oh, my name is Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, and I learned how to be a really good NFL receiver again. But I definitely think the Chiefs will definitely go for a receiver as far as offseason changes. I want to bring up the Chargers because are you keeping Keenan Allen?
Yes. I'll keep him
Herbert,
for
obviously, Eckler.
I mean, I already sold Eckler last year, so yeah, I'm probably not. I'm not
I
super.
I don't know if I
I
keep
feel
Eckler right now, to
I,
be
I
honest
feel
with
pretty
you.
vindicated about selling him last year.
Yeah, like I mean, he had a good game. We're recording this Tuesday, so day after Monday night, he had a pretty solid game. I don't know if I keep him though because I feel like there has been a concerted effort to where I know Josh Kelly's not starting, but he's getting touches, and then you get and then they have to make Quentin Johnston work. Mike Williams, we have no idea. But for some reason, I feel Eckler's on the out and out. It feels like.
Yep, I agree.
All right,
But
let's.
well, we
I
we we
mean,
kind of talked about Ryan's question already, which was CJ Stroud, which is just electric. I want to go a little bit
yes,
deeper into it because I want to talk about their wide receivers. Um,
yes,
so my question is, with them, which one of them can you trust? You know, you've seen big games from Nico, you've seen big games from Noah Brown, you've seen big performances from Dalton Schultz, and you've seen big performances from Tank. So who do you
Oh,
trust?
all right. I would say actually out of all of them, Dalton Schultz, to be honest with you, and it's
No,
not
no,
enough.
that is so fair. Like if you need tight end help and you can buy
Yeah,
Dalton Schultz, I would absolutely.
I
But
I would
so
absolutely
now,
go
now
Dalton
with that
Schultz.
put to the side for wide receiver, who are you starting as your wide receiver? Who are you starting as your flex? You know, who are you trading? Who are you cutting?
Ooh, okay.
What
I
does that really look like?
Noah Brown, I wouldn't make a move for largely because that is a wide receiver three, and I that's scary territory. I wouldn't trust that. So that leaves me Nico Collins or Tank Dell. And I think I'd go Tank Dell. And the reason why is why Nico may be more that Nico Collins might be safer. Like there's a higher floor, there's things like you're able to feel a little more comfortable that if it doesn't work out, you'll be okay. I think the ceiling, especially at this point of year, is more important for Tank Dell. And I think it's more important to start Tank Dell because every win matters. And I think you need to go for the ceiling.
Yeah, like it just feels like Tank is CJ's guy. And like, you know, obviously there's games where he might struggle a little bit, but it just feel like that's his dude. And I mean, when the game was on the line, you have a 40-second drive. Who's he throwing it to in the end zone?
Yeah, exactly. He literally threw it to Tank Dell. So I'm going to bring up both of almost or the Houston Texans stats. So Tank Dell this past week, something very interesting: 85% snap percentage, and he actually had 78 last week, which I know wasn't very good, but that was a tough Carolina team. And then this week was 85%. Yes, I think you have to be concerned that there's only 11 targets. But if Stroud, I think at this point, Houston, I think is just going to fully rely on. And you know what, Stroud, you're good enough to win the game now. I think you abandon ship on Damian Pierce and you go all in on trying to get like Tank Dell.
Fair enough.
All right, let's. I'm trying to find what how Nico did yesterday.
It was pretty mid.
Having 14 points. Good night. But he had 5 targets. So Tank Dell literally doubled in targets. I believe between Noah Brown and Nico Collins.
Yeah, so Nico at 5, and then
Noah Brown had 6. Yeah. So literally, if you combine Noah Brown, yeah, I
Nico.
now,
So,
yeah, I think so. The hierarchy for me would be Tank, Nico. Well, technically, Tank, well, Dalton Schultz, Tank, Nico, Noah Brown.
Cincy is a tough matchup though, so that'll be interesting. But
I think this is going to be the first true test for Stroud. I mean, obviously Ravens defense, but I'm thinking now like they didn't really put Stroud in really bad situations, and
mhm.
they're like at the end of the day, live to fight another day. And so that's why you didn't see Stroud make a lot of mistakes in that week 1 matchup. Now I feel like we're seeing Stroud in a this is like, hey, this is the final form of the offense this year. We're ready to move. And since he's a really good matchup, Lou Anarumo's going to throw some crazy stuff at him and says, all right, Rook, you're going to learn this. You're
Yeah,
going to find out what we do." And personally, I think if you're going to go after Cincy, you're going to go after the safeties, just because that's where they're the most inexperienced. And if he can attack the safeties, when that's where I think Tank Dell is actually going to be they're going to have to get Tank Dell in motion because I think Cam Taylor Britt and Chidobe are actually really bad matchups for him. If he's just on the line like as a standard release or
yeah,
sorry, really not release alignment. So I think if you get Tank Dell in motion, I think that's going to open Tank Dell more than like a Nico or a Dalton Schultz.
yeah. I mean, I'm very happy with him, but it's time to dream,
It is
Josh.
time to dream.
And
Uh,
in your dreams, what is your lineup?
well, in my dream, well, not turn into a nightmare, but I want to give you credit first before we get to the dream lineups. You, sir, have done not the impossible, but you are pulling it
The
off as we
improbable
speak. The improbable. So Ethan started the year 0-5 and has since clawed his way to
for five
4 and
straight
5.
or four straight.
Yeah,
Sorry, four
four
straight.
straight, four straight, which has thrown
Looking
him
at five.
literally, I think you are the 6th spot now in the playoff format.
Yep, I just got thrown into the playoffs after this week.
So So good, like literally good on you. Like this has been it was looking rough out there, but I think you definitely have the pieces to it to definitely make it run. And
Oh yeah, I mean
it,
if JT, ETN, and like Pittman keep going at the pace that they're at, I think I'm gonna be really steady
you're either
as a
going you're going to be the toughest out or the clear winner in the consolation bracket.
yeah,
So
one or the other. It'll be a good
yeah, so
time.
oh yeah, it's good, but I'm proud of you. I
Thanks,
am
buddy.
proud of you. I
I
want
I've
that
been
on
trying.
air.
I've been trying so hard.
Yeah, so let's start with dream lineups. I'll say Ryan's first, then I'll get into mine. Ryan has Joe Burrow versus Houston. I don't think that's a bad play at all. I am going somewhere completely different. Give me Justin Herbert.
Herb, Herb Power.
Yep, Herb Power. I
I think that
think
Detroit game's gonna be good.
I think that game is going to be good. I think again, like I think really the big way to beat Detroit is throwing the ball. And I think at this point, you're that's all the Chargers are going to do is they're going to just have to rely on Herbert to just make plays to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I like the matchup. I think it'll be a good one. Just they can't get run over. That's their
They
only
can't.
thing. Cannot
Yeah,
get run over. I'm going Josh Allen against Denver.
that is a good that is a good call.
I'm a big
Though
fan of that. And he's been
I
on a
mean
tear.
he has been on a tear because I think the Bills forgot how to run the ball. Like I don't think that's in their vernacular, their DNA whatsoever. It has been Josh Allen backyard this. Let's see what we can do. Which is
Yeah,
also mean it's
they
been
need a milk check.
yes, they do. And I mean going up against Denver, I would not there's one person I
Good
did
match.
not put in this that I kind of wish I did. I might change it later. I will think about
We'll feel it
it.
out.
Yeah, I'll feel it out. So that's our quarterbacks. Ryan went with CMC versus Jacksonville for his RB1 slot, and I really,
He likes playing against matchups, dude. I'm telling you.
yeah, I mean, it's a really good pick, but
But it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they have a very good defense this year. Like a lot of people don't realize that. Maybe outside, maybe people inside Duval County knew. Uh, Maybe not outside though. But I am not going with that. With CMC, give me Gibbs. I'm all in on Gibbs right now.
Jameer.
Yep, Jameer Gibbs as my running back one slot. I think. I mean, you brought it up off camera as well. We have no idea if Monty's going to play, and if he
It's not looking like I haven't seen anything on Monty playing. Let me,
he could be getting the vet days today and tomorrow, and then start practicing Thursday. I think
but it's
that
also
could be a potential.
non-divisional, so
Yeah, so I think there's a
yeah,
possibility, and if
he was limited today. Um,
okay,
they just
so
said,
there's a chance. But either way, I think the past two performances from Gibbs, you can't help but at least give him more snaps. So I'm still rolling with Gibbs. I don't think Chargers defense is any good. They technically have a good run defense, but that's largely because their pass defense is so bad. I don't even think their run defense is that good either. So
yeah, people are like, we don't even need to run the ball on you, dude. Like we can just throw it for 400 yards.
exactly. So Ethan, who you got as in your running back one slot?
I'm taking the opposite of what Ryan did. I'm gonna go with ETN. I
Hey,
haven't rocked with the church much, so I wanted to change things up for
hey,
this week.
hey, you're rolling with the sermon.
But there have also been some cracks on that 49ers defense. So I think there's
Yeah,
going to be an opportunity for ETN to pick up some points.
yeah, that game I think will not be a high scoring game. I feel like 24-20 or 24-17 kind of deal. I don't know who wins yet, but it's definitely going to be a defense heavy game.
I mean, if the Niners slide 4 games, ooh,
Yeah, and I think if anything, the bye week is going to be really helpful. But I think a lot of their losses, I think some people have pointed out, it's like, oh, people are starting to figure out the Steve Wilkes rules and have really
yeah,
exploited that. So if the Jaguars beat the 49ers this week, it will be because Doug Peterson has a rule breaker it like in
yeah.
his playbook. So Ryan RB2 goes with Joe Mixon. Uh, so
I have Mixon as
obviously,
flex.
yep, yeah, that's a solid choice. Yeah, Mixon your flex though, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so but my running back two is going to be Ramondre. You might as well keep rolling with it.
yeah, I got the Mondre too.
All right, and then who's your running back two?
My running back two is Aaron Jones against Pitt.
Ooh, okay. I like the pick. Speaking, all right, okay. Small break, but go talking about the Packers. Who would you keep as who would you put as a keeper on the Packers?
Oh man,
Because
I don't know.
the
They need help.
my initial thought is nobody.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
I'm
wouldn't,
not keeping him on that team.
yeah, not keeping Jones, not keeping AJ Dillon. Christian
Not
Watson has
keeping.
been just an extreme disappointment this year, along with Jordan Love at some points, and then even Romeo Dobbs. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't either. So let's go on to wide receiver one,
Give me
Ryan.
Diggs. No, give me Diggs.
All right, Ethan Diggs. I mean, you might as well take the stack while you can. Ryan goes also with the stack, Jamar Chase versus Houston, which that one's going to be really unfortunate if Jamar Chase doesn't play. Which
Yeah.
I want to say, here's why I think there actually is a legit possibility he doesn't play. They play the Ravens next Thursday.
Okay.
So if he's questionable for this game and it's like, I don't know if he'll play, it's an AFC South opponent. It's not going to count towards the division. I could see Cincy going, hey, let's keep you out for this one. Let's get you ready for Baltimore.
Yeah. Really quickly on Monty, even if he does play, I think he'll be very limited.
See, I
Um,
would say that until the Thursday night game where Monty had 400 carries.
that situation was a little bit different
Yeah,
than
that
this.
I think, yeah, that one was a little bit different. I also don't think they trusted Gibbs all the way yet. So I think there is definitely different circumstances. So
And now he's
be on the
been
lookout
literally
for Monty.
playing for 2 weeks in a row.
Yep, absolutely. So be on the lookout for Monty. It could mean a very good day for Gibbs. So let's see. I also have Diggs as my wide receiver one in this matchup. So on the same page there. My wide receiver two, um, eh, I am going with Tyler Lockett. I think if anything, I was very close to putting in Jigba on here, but I think there's Seattle's still figuring out how to use Njigba. And so Lockett, I think, is going to be the one who's going to be the beneficiary. I think they're going to come in like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. He who shall
Uh,
not be
uh
named.
yep.
Oh,
Ethan, your wide receiver too.
taking Tank.
You might as well do it. You ride the flames, ride the flames.
So he's riding my team right now. We'll see what he does this week. I think I've used him one other time before, and he did pretty well for me in dream lineup. So we gotta,
Yep.
keep things fresh, keep things interesting.
Ryan's wide receiver too. Very interesting here is Amari Cooper.
He's just obsessed with playing against matchups.
Yeah, yeah. And so all of our tight ends are the same. We got Mark Andrews as well. So
Then we already went
uh
up on flexes, so it's just you and Ryan.
yeah, so Ryan's flexes. He's rolling with Rashad White versus Tennessee and Jordan Addison versus New Orleans, which I think, ooh, that is a sneaky good pick. I am going with Jahan Dotson and
Okay.
Javante Williams.
Okay. I think Javante is a sneaky play against Buffalo because they've allowed a lot of points to running backs.
Yeah, they have allowed a lot of points to running backs, and I could totally see Sean Payton going, look, I need to roll with Javante. I need to keep Josh Allen off the field.
Right.
And that,
Yeah,
my friend, I believe
that's
is
that's
the
dream.
episode.
That's the dream. That's the episode. That's the lineups.
Yeah. Thank you
It's
all for
everything.
listening to the Last Place Fantasy podcast. You can find us on almost all platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, especially YouTube. Uh, and I do have actually one more thing after this before I go through our little ad read, but you can also like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to do a lot more things on the YouTube channel, so that's kind of our main focus. So if y'all can help us out there, that would be wonderful. Uh What can the people never forget, Ethan?
Never forget. Sometimes you are right. Sometimes you're the man who's not here named Ryan.
You should not be named.
You shall not be named Ryan.
Name. But so I want to actually add to trade review before we head out. Because there is one trade that I do want to talk to you about.
Uh-oh. Which trade is it?
No, it does not involve you.
Not my
It
trade. Okay.
actually, no, not your trade.
All
I
right.
actually want to talk about a trade, what our good friend Jacob Duran sent me,
Okay.
because I could go 50-50 on this. So I would be, he is, wants Kyler Murray, Chris Olave, and a 2024 second
Okay.
for Jacoby Myers, 2025 first, 2026 first,
Okay. So you're getting a first for essentially Olave
and Kyler.
and Kyler, which Kyler, it sounds like he's getting replaced in Arizona.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Because I
It
because I
really sounds like they want to move on from him. That's kind of the
I feel like
conclusion with what Gannon has said.
if that was the case, I don't think they play him though. Because
Well,
right
dude,
now, why risk
better
it?
than
Just
Clayton Tune, you know?
yeah, but if you want the number one pick, if you want Caleb Williams,
Yeah, I
but
honestly don't know what Arizona's doing, to be honest, because they talk like they don't want Kyler, and Kyler talks about how he doesn't want to be there, but then like you said, they're gonna activate him. It's like, I mean,
yeah,
you don't have to act.
I have a feeling Kyler stays though. Like because imagine I think they could get a massive haul for that 101. Whoever wants to grab Caleb, right? And if that's the case, you can literally build out the team a little bit faster. You already have Paris Johnson there, so at least O line you don't need it. And then obviously probably get another receiver doesn't hurt, but you've been able to show that like Michael Wilson, Hollywood Brown, Trey McBride, it can work.
Yeah,
So
I'm
so
excited
with
for end of the season watch when we look at who's going to be trading for the first overall pick.
yeah, because I
Sorry,
mean
just
obviously
very quick side note.
very quick side note. I mean, I think it's still Caleb Williams 101. But I want to see like who trades up with Chicago to try to go after
Yeah.
Drake May, or if I'm Chicago, I am
Well, if
keeping both picks.
if I'm Chicago, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2, and then
I go
figure out
Olu Fashanu,
best
the
offer.
Penn State, yeah, the Penn State offensive tackle.
Yeah, they could. That they can go offensive tackle, or they can say, how bad does somebody want Drake May or Penix or Bo Nix or whoever somebody's in love with at 3. And then if
So
they say
yeah,
it's worth it to trade back a little bit and receive a huge haul over that, over an offensive lineman, I think that's not a bad move either.
so let's see here. So
Chicago is king right now. They just need to keep losing.
yeah, so Giants are at 4, Patriots at
Giants need
5. Giants definitely need QB, but
Patriots need a wide
Patriots,
receiver.
yes. So I don't know who off the top of my head would be wide receiver 2 after Marvin
Because
Harrison
the
Jr.
Patriots should be 6-3 right now, but they've had
The
3 lone games because of their wide receivers.
Yep, the Rams are at 6, but they will go offensive line. I'm almost sure of it. I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll go
As much as they
quarterback.
should draft a QB, they're going to draft offensive line because that's what the Rams do.
I mean, unless you go free agency for that, that could be the interesting move. And then the
No.
Bucks at 8, Denver at 9, Tennessee at 10, and it looks like Tennessee has their own quarterback, so they could be a trade down candidate as well.
Yeah, unless they're in love with
Yeah,
somebody. I don't know. End of the season draft talk is going to be fun. But
yeah,
we've
that
made it.
will be fun.
We've made it.
We
This is the end. We love you all.
Yeah, we will see
See
y'all next week. Have a good one, everybody.